Every week, Governor Gina Raimondo joins us right here on 12 News Now at 4 to give an update on the state's COVID-19 response. And this week's interview comes as the state and the U.S. as a whole see a spike in cases. Our Kim Kalunian joining us live at the State House, where she just wrapped up that interview. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, always a lot of ground to cover in the few minutes that we get with the governor here on Thursdays on 12 News Now at 4. And of course, one of the first questions I wanted to ask was about that rise in cases and whether we're seeing a second wave. I also asked about whether we've seen transmission in schools, given some new information we learned just a couple of days ago, and also when we can see some restrictions eased, even if we aren't formally moving out of phase 3 until we get a vaccine. Here's some portions of that conversation. Governor, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Kim.
Yesterday during your press conference, the data had not come out yet, and so we got some new data later in the day. The day before, the case number was revised to almost double what was initially released. Over the past 3 days, the new case counts have topped 300. Today, we're close to 400. I know you said yesterday that we're not at the threshold yet for a second wave.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, what is that threshold, and what evidence you might have that shows we are not in or approaching that second wave?
Yes. So listen, we're not in a good place. When I saw the numbers this morning for yesterday, you know, you get a pit in your stomach. 400 cases in one day. That is not where we want to be. Hospitalizations going up. The percent positive just a couple weeks ago was 1.6. Now it's just about 3, not quite 3%. So what I was trying to say is, it's still, our destiny is in our control. So you're absolutely right. It sure looks like we are beginning a second wave. It is clear that we have widespread community spread. But my point is, if we all kept our circles tighter, wore our masks with everyone that we don't live with, you know, stopped our social gatherings, we still have time now in order to flatten that curve again. So I was trying to make the case to Rhode Island that it's on us. This is within our control. If we change our behavior enough, if we wear our masks all the time, we won't go flying up the curve. We will change the curve. But you are correct. We're headed up, and it looks like a second wave.
I know you and the Education Commissioner have said there's no evidence of in-school transmission, but just this week, Davies Career and Technical Center in Lincoln said that they do have some possible evidence of in-school transmission. Is this, to your knowledge, the first case of in-school transmission, or have you heard of other potentials?
So first of all, it's not entirely clear in this instance that it was in-school transmission. It could be, though, as you say, and it is the first instance like this that I know of in Rhode Island. Doesn't mean there aren't another, but yes, it's the first one that we know of. I will say that, I will say this, even just today, another report has been put out showing that throughout the world and throughout the United States, schools, having the kids in school is not really a vector of spread. And so I think that when you balance the known dangers and harms of having kids not in school, depression, hunger, isolation, falling behind, particularly kids for whom English isn't their first language, who have special needs, are really falling behind. When you weigh that against what we're seeing all over the country, all over the world, and all over our state, which is not a lot of spread in schools, to me it remains a no-brainer that we have to get as many kids in school as much as possible.
The last time we spoke 2 weeks ago, you said that Rhode Island would likely remain in phase 3 until there was a vaccine. A lot of reaction to that. But I just wanted to clarify, because there are so many shades of gray with the vaccine. Are we talking about when one is approved, when one is widely available, when the majority of Rhode Islanders are vaccinated?
Thank you so much for bringing this up. So let me say this. I would like to relax some of the regulations, particularly as it relates to commerce. And hopefully, I mean, it's a hard time to talk about that now, because now we're in this surge, but it's on my mind. It's on my mind that weddings are still at 50 and certain aspects. I would love to relax that, just as I did a couple of weeks ago, saying that in outdoor restaurants, tables could be closer together. So I want people to know that, because we might not go into a full-blown phase 4 until we have a widely available vaccine. But that doesn't mean we won't continue to incrementally relax the restrictions. But when I think of a phase 4, I think of a widely available vaccine to allow us to reopen the convention center, fully reopen for conventions and large-scale events throughout Rhode Island. And that, I think, is hard to do until you have a widely available vaccine. But that doesn't mean we can't, on the edges, expand to allow bigger weddings, bigger events, and more commerce.
So those are some of the changes that you're thinking of making sooner than later?
Yes, assuming we can get this under control, which is why I get so frustrated when people say to me, Governor, I'm not going to follow your rules. I'm going to have a Halloween party. I'm going to not wear my mask. To which I say, well, then you're going to cause other people to lose their job. I hear from people every day, Kim. Every day. It's not an exaggeration. I own a restaurant. I'm barely surviving. I own a hotel. I work at a hotel. I've lost my job. I don't know if I'm going to get back to work. So their ability to get back to work depends on our ability to follow the rules, and which is why I'm asking people, don't do it because I'm telling you to do it. Do it because your fellow Rhode Islanders are counting on you so they can get back to work or get out of the hospital or send their kids back to school.
And the last time I spoke with the governor, I asked her if she would begin to undergo routine surveillance testing for the coronavirus, similar to what President Trump is doing. And she said that was something they were planning to do. So I followed up with her today, and she said yes, she has begun getting a weekly test. She was tested last Friday. She was negative. She plans to get tested again tomorrow.